I didn't realize the napkin wasn't trash until I used it to wipe mustard off my sleeve and felt the drag of ballpoint ink against my wrist. It was one of those stiff white deli napkins you get with a Polish sausage at the Logan Square Farmers Market. Someone had drawn a grid over it in even blue lines, then dotted 7 X's across the tiny city, one near the California Blue Line stop, another by the river at Cortland, one in Pilsen, one in Hyde Park, two up in Uptown, and a stubborn X hovering out by the lake between Montrose and Foster. Along the top, printed like a heading, the napkin map. Pick a night, bring bread, leave a note. At the bottom, a little legend. Weds, repair, Thurs, soup, fry, songs, sat, sky. Under that, in smaller letters, ask for the red thermos. I'd been in Chicago 3 months. A job in data had promised to expand, then folded at the hinge. My therapist kept circling, make a routine, and, annoyingly, let chance in. The napkin felt like both. Repair. Wednesday's X lived behind a mural of a girl releasing a flock of blackbirds. A garage door sat half open, a tape line on the concrete reading Repair Night. Inside, 5 people, 3 toolboxes, a tray of cookies on the hood of a dusty Volvo, and a red thermos labeled for anyone who remembered to come. Layla ran the room, braid like a crown, hands that made stubborn objects reconsider. She treated my broken lamp like a patient, taught me to strip wire, twist copper like I meant it, and convince heat shrink to behave. A corkboard listed 3 rules. Fix small things on purpose. Write down what you did. Eat something. I wrote lamp, cord spliced, switch replaced, fear managed on an index card and tacked it up. The lamp looked smug. I let it. A man in a socks cap resurrected a toaster. A grandmother showed 3 strangers the fast version of darning. Between fixes, we passed bread, cookies, and little paper cups of coffee from the thermos that had no right tasting as good as it did. Soup. Thursday's X hid in the back room of a Pilsen bodega. Soup night was taped to the fridge. A stockpot hummed. People arrived with bread, Tupperware, onions, courage. The red thermos steamed on the counter like an old friend. We chopped, stirred, and practiced being unspecial. On a stack of postcards, someone had printed, "Leave a note for Friday." People wrote song requests, birthday, quiet wishes, best bathrooms on the West Side tips. I wrote anything with brass, weather permitting, and drew a trumpet telling a joke. Layla came through the door with cilantro and the day still in her braid. She said my name like we'd agreed on it. Soup night didn't require confessions, just hands. The room made a practice of gentleness you could eat. A little shelf beside the register held a ledger labeled, "Borrow a pot." People signed out stock pots the way you check out books. I liked a city that lets you borrow its simmer. Songs. Friday's X sat under the L in Uptown, drizzle pretending to be percussion. Song night was taped to a battered amp. 9 people and a toddler clapped like a choir. A trumpet found the key to the weather. A man with half a mustache sang "A change is gonna come." So sincere the damp applauded. Layla stamped time. The thermos wore a new sticker, as seen on Soup Night. Afterward, she asked, "Tomorrow?" Meaning sky. "Sky," I said, and I meant it. Sky. Saturday by the lake at Montrose. 4 telescopes, 2 binoculars, a cardboard sign, "You are allowed to be new." A puffy-coated astronomer pointed at Jupiter with his whole arm. The thermos made paper cups into small heaters. I looked through glass and felt a child's stupidity leave my body. Layla adjusted a tripod with the kind of care that makes machines confess. Someone turned on quiet strings. The horizon acted like a good teacher. "This is a cult," I said. "It's a club," she corrected. "Cults charge dues." "What do clubs charge?" "Bread," she said, "and courage." We poured both. When cold got clever, the scopes folded down, the puffy coat guy made everyone say one out loud. People said job interview, sleep, snow that behaves. I said routine. It left my mouth like a repaired object. I decided to try again. The map moves. By week 2, I could read the napkin like a calendar. The X's moved, the legend stayed. Repair, soup, songs, sky. The thermos kept migrating. Red, steady, stickered. I learned the secret geography. A garage that knew the price of hinges. A bodega with cumin opinions. A church basement that moonlit as a music hall. A lake that forgave. I learned Layla's map slowly. The preferred speed for maps you keep. Days, carpentry for the parks department. Benches holding posture. Playgrounds for giving weather. Nights, napkin shifts. She kept a paper timetable in her pocket the way others carry wallets. She asked about my life. I answered in spreadsheets. She nodded like seasons, not sentences. Your lamp looks smug, she told me one Thursday, stirring lentils like a method. You're allowed to be too. Nights ended with index cards. Repair notes, recipes, thank yous. Sky Night left chalk on the path. Good job, Mars. You look nice, Moon. Then the napkin changed. The blue grid had 7 X's and a new line in the legend. Sun, exchange. Under it, swap your winter for someone else's. Exchange. Sunday's X was an uptown apartment lobby. Winter exchange. Bring something. Take something, sat on a folding table. People brought hats that didn't fit their life anymore. Gloves that found partners. Warm socks that were good ideas. A kid placed a dragon book next to a casserole dish labeled free to a fridge that needs it. Someone left 2 bags of hand warmers with for bus stops sharpied on. 2 bakers arrived with cinnamon rolls. Hour left on the fresh sticker, and the room decided stickers were fake rules. The thermos hummed. Tucked under it, a fresh napkin in red ink, the X's forming a diagonal from Uptown to Hyde Park, and a note. If you need to talk to a stranger, do it while your hands are doing something. L. Your aunt, I asked Layla, though my only aunt lives in Maine sending Basil advice. Not mine, she said. Also possibly mine. That's how this works. We followed the diagonal, repair in a Southside wood shop where a chalk-fingered teacher deputized us, soup in Little Village, landlord donating a basement because stoves do good work, songs under a neon Jesus Saves where echo made generosity sound like theology, sky on the midway with students borrowing the thermos and paying in stickers. Somewhere between bolts and brass, I noticed Layla's laugh always arrived 4 beats late. She liked watching jokes land first. Somewhere between Saturn pretending it wasn't tired of us and a toddler clapping on 2 and 4, we became the kind of duo asked to carry heavy things without being asked. Is this a date? I ventured one alley night, shoulder suddenly aware of its job. Yes, she said, pressing a loose screw into my palm. In that we both showed up. We dropped the screw in a jar labeled later. Mission creep, the good kind. By February, the napkin had soup stains, a grease pencil streak, and a candle hole. The legend gained and lost lines. Mon, laundry appeared once. 4th load free if you brought donations. Tuesday, courthouse bench, 12 to 2. Bring oranges lasted a month and turned into a quiet protest. Handing fruit to anyone coming down steps, looking processed instead of helped. The thermos picked up more stickers than opinions. In March, the map underlined Sat Sky. Bring someone. That night at Montrose, telescopes multiplied. A choir bus from Iowa verified Venus and said, oh, in unison. A woman fed a baby with the moon as witness. Layla set the thermos in my hands, pour for me without saying it, and my hands told the truth. We moved the folding table closer to the path and spread the napkin like a flag. People pointed and told stories. A kid traced a line with mittened finger and said, we go here. The diagonal route wore check marks. Someone had drawn a heart shaped like a city grid in the corner. Layla slid me a smaller napkin with 1 X. Where? I asked. My shop, she said. A bench needs deciding. We could put our names on it. The bench. Under a silver maple that had survived lightning, a park bench slouched. Plaque, in memory of Joan who hated benches until she needed one. Slats soft, bolts sulking, back unhelpful. We rebuilt it, measured, sanded, measured again. Learned to stop arguing just before irretrievable. Oiled slats until they understood shine. Added a second small plaque. repaired by people who don't like quitting. Taped the photo to the repair corkboard. Someone wrote "nice bench" 6 times in red pen. After the last bolt, Layla patted the space beside her. The light did that Chicago late afternoon thing where the skyline pretends it's behaved. We sat. Stillness did its job. "Bread and courage," as she said. "And soup. And sky." Her hand found mine. Not a surprise, just the conclusion of an equation we'd both shown our work on. Inspector Storm and the Thermos Truth. Spring loosened winter's jaw. A city inspector found repair night and raised an eyebrow so high it needed a step stool. "Permits?" he asked the room. We handed him cookies, waivers, and a printed one-sheet titled, "How We Don't Blow a Fuse." He asked who was in charge. The room pointed at the thermos. He tried not to smile, failed. Came back the next week with a box of outlet covers and a suggestion for a safer extension cord. "Pilot program," he called it. We called it Wednesday. A storm slammed the city on a soup night. Straight-line wind that convinced trees to try new angles. Power flickered, then failed. The bodega had gas. The thermos didn't need permission. We turned soup into a neighborhood line, a moving river of bowls. Layla directed foot traffic like a conductor. I refilled the thermos so often my hands smelled like coffee for 2 days. A nurse off shift sat on the back step and cried into a paper cup. A teenager held an umbrella over a grandmother's hair. Someone taped a new sticker to the thermos. Kept us warm. That night I finally asked the question people keep pretending doesn't have an answer. Who fills it? An older man I'd seen a dozen times but somehow never properly met lifted his chin. Mr. Ortiz, retired transit. Always early, never loud. He tapped the thermos like a friend's shoulder. "My mother's," he said. "Red since '78. She used it when they shut off our building's heat and the church let us plug in. I bring it where it needs to be. Some weeks other people beat me to it. That's the game." He let me carry it to his car. In the trunk sat a second, smaller thermos, blue, scuffed. He patted it. "Back up, maps or promises, we bring the follow-through." Skill swap, letters, and a rooftop interlude. The Napkin added Monday. Skills, a school cafeteria, after hours with stations, sewing on buttons, basic bike tune-ups, tax questions answered by a kind CPA, knives but safely, and a little table labeled typing resumes and telling you it's not your fault. Soup night started to bring a spice if you can jar that filled itself with cumin and kindness. Songs gained a second mic. Sky night added a chalkboard where kids drew the solar system without apologizing for scale. Monday, letters popped up at a library room. We wrote to soldiers, seniors, kids in hospitals under a rule. No advice, all encouragement. I wrote, "You are handled more kindly than you know," and Layla added, "and by this room beneath it." We stickered the envelopes with a tiny thermos because superstition had earned tenure. One warm Friday, the map swapped songs for films. Roof, a projector, a bedsheet, a skyline. We watched a rom-com with bad hair and perfect timing. The red thermos did iced coffee for once and looked smug about it. Halfway through, the city blinked and the roof held its breath. Layla leaned in, and we kissed like people who had been steadily assembling the instructions for months. The decision we didn't rush. A recruiter called with a Milwaukee job that would have fixed numbers and broken other things. I told Layla at repair night, mid-screwdriver. The room got accidentally quieter. We didn't fight. We paused. We walked the diagonal, read chalk notes to the moon, and ate street corner mango with too much lime. By Hyde Park, I'd said no. Not for noble reasons, because my chest felt wrong imagining a map without these X's. Layla didn't clap. She poured from the thermos and said, "Good choice," like it was one of many. We quietly retired the later jar. It had done its job. Meteor's origins in year one. Summer made the napkin briefly switch to green ink, then back to blue because blue had seniority. A new line appeared. Sat, alt, sky, neighbors and meteors with bring blankets, plus a fruit to share. We found a pocket of dark beyond the soccer fields. Meteors auditioned. A grandmother told a Halley's Comet story. A coyote sauntered by. We nodded like colleagues. Someone's playlist found this must be the place exactly when the sky earned it. Layla fell asleep 7 minutes on my shoulder. I counted each like a small, ridiculous blessing. We never solved the napkin's origin. Theories multiplied. My favorite, a busy bee waitress used to draw them for line cooks new in town. When the diner closed, the habit leaked into the city. Most accurate, all of us. On the anniversary of repair night number 1, we taped the original mustard napkin to the corkboard and wrote year 1 above it. My lamp returned for a victory lap. Mr. Ortiz unveiled a sticker. The thermos is a we. The inspector brought outlet covers in bulk. The band under the L played September, even though it was July, and nobody called the cops. We rang a tiny handbell someone had smuggled from a school, lost and found, and everyone pretended it was ceremonial because why shouldn't it be? Layla leaned on my shoulder and said, "Routine, meet Chance." "Nice to meet you," I told both, and meant it. If you walk the diagonal route on a Thursday, you'll find soup that borrows cumin and patience in equal measure. On a Friday, you'll hear a trumpet-convincing drizzle to clap on 2 and 4. On a Saturday, you'll stumble into telescopes that want you to stop pretending you're too old to be impressed. On a Wednesday, you'll watch a lamp learn to be a lamp again. And maybe a person too. And on a bench under a silver maple, you might find 2 people who learn to swap winter for something livable. Bread for courage, routine for chance, mustard for map, and are still making room for whoever shows up with a broken thing and a good napkin. The thermos will be there, probably before you, because someone got up early and decided to keep the city warm with a habit. Bring bread, leave a note, fix one small thing on purpose. The map will handle the rest.